Ladies and gentlemen, I certainly hope you enjoyed your dinner. I'd like to welcome you to the second part of our program for the evening. In my career as a journalist, I've had many opportunities to interview many famous people, some more interesting than others. I've interviewed men who've walked on the moon, but it's not too often that I get to introduce a gentleman who, quite frankly, towers above many. Earlier on, while we were rehearsing for this program, he and I were sharing a joke about the height difference between us. And I had to admit that the physical difference is made up many times over by the stature of this individual who I will introduce to you shortly. Ladies and gentlemen, the man who I have the honor of welcoming this evening was an investigator of Nazi war crimes. He was a prosecutor for the United States at the trial in Nuremberg. He's continuously been trying to stop the atrocities of war from happening again. And as we pause now, I want you to reflect that his expertise helped shape the war crimes tribunals for Yugoslavia and Rwanda. He's also campaigned tirelessly for the creation of the International Criminal Court.
At the end of World War II, humanity came face to face with its own depravity, setting in motion the movement for an international criminal court. Confronted by the systematic extermination of civilians by the Nazi regime, Allied forces took an unexpected approach. Summary executions of those most responsible would be replaced by the rule of law.
We ask this court to affirm by international penal action man's right to live in peace and dignity, regardless of his race or creed.
The case we present is a plea of humanity to law. I was then 27 years old.
We shall establish.
It was my first case. My defendants were 22 high-ranking SS officers. They were accused and convicted of murdering in cold blood over 1 million people.
The charges we have brought accuse the defendants of having committed genocide.
We hoped that we would lay a foundation stone saying that genocide was a crime. Crimes against humanity are punishable. Nobody is immune. The head of a state will be brought to trial.
In 1998, people from all over the world gathered in Rome to attempt something that had never been done: create the basis for a permanent international criminal court.
The vote will now be closed. The machine is now closed.
It was a great victory in my mind for the rule of law, because for the first time since Nuremberg, the first time in human history, a truly international criminal court had been drafted and accepted overwhelmingly by the nations in that room. When I went to school, there was no such thing as human rights law. Humanitarian law didn't exist. So I have seen these changes coming in our lifetime. It's a long life. I'm my 87th year, but it's very short. It's a blink in the eye of time, of historical time. We need several generations to continue working on it, and I hope someone will pick up this torch when it slips from my hand, which may be soon. So it can be done, and we should never be defeatist and say it can't be done. It's so obviously correct that law is better than war, and that it's better to live in peace with human rights than to live in war, killing people whom you don't even know.
Ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce the man who brought the Nazis to justice, Benjamin Ferencz.